just a reminder before the service starts, if you have a cell phone, if you could please silence it or turn it off. We'll be starting right now. Thank you.
While glancing through my book of songs, I turn them one by one. Some of sweethearts true, and of skies of blue, some of paradise and of love. I paused as I thought of this paradise out here in the golden west. So come on along to the island of Guam. Here you'll find your happiness. Just a pretty little island that God left in the West. Just a paradise you read about, made of love and of happiness, where the palm trees swing in their graceful way, 'neath the beautiful skies of blue. It's the prettiest spot in this whole wide world. Here in Guam, paradise calls you. Just a pretty little island that God left in the West. Just a paradise you read about, made for love and for happiness, where the palm trees sway in their graceful way, 'neath the beautiful skies of blue. It's the prettiest spot in this whole wide world. Here in Guam, paradise calls you.
Jesus said, I am the resurrection and I am life. And those who believe in me, even though they die, yet shall they live. And whoever lives and believes in me shall never die. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. I died, and behold, I am alive forevermore. And behold, I hold the keys of hell and death. Because I live, you shall live also. Friends, we are gathered here to praise God and to witness to our faith as we celebrate the life of Senior Chief Yeoman Jose Salas Taitano. We come together in grief, acknowledging our human loss. May God grant us that in pain we may find comfort, in sorrow hope, and death the resurrection.
satisfeito as Jesus, gof mi gai hana idu, mama desi pauna libre matai para o sadbadu. Satisfeito, satisfeito as Jesus. Loma tugi kihina soko anhu hasu ikilus. Kau satisfeito wi nuhuahu. I am satisfied with Jesus. He has done so much for me. He has suffered to redeem me. He has died to set me free. I am satisfied. I am satisfied. I am satisfied with Jesus. But the question comes to me as I think of Calvary. Is my Master satisfied with me?
Our father, Jose Salas Taitano, known as Pop to his children, and to many as Pepe, Joe, or Mr. T, was a remarkable man who lived a full and happy life. He was born on September 6, 1921, on the island of Guam, in the village of Agana. He was born the ninth of 17 children. For those who knew him, Pop was a proud man, devoted husband, father, friend, and role model. He lived his life with honesty, integrity, faith, and service. Our father had an infectious smile and charm that made everyone around him smile too. He was a true gentleman and a kind, compassionate, and friendly person with an unselfish heart. He welcomed people unconditionally into his home and family. Pop believed in the goodness of people and that each of us mattered. He was proud of his Chamorro heritage and proud to be an American. He loved and served his country with integrity, respect, dignity, and sacrifice. Pop served in uniform for 37 years and was a veteran of World War II, Korea, and Vietnam Wars. He retired from civil service, resulting in a combined military and civilian career spanning 48 years of faithful federal service. Our father enlisted in the United States Navy in 1938 at the age of 17. He was assigned to the Insular Force on Guam. At the beginning of World War II, Pop met Concepcion Agun Hamamoto. They married in June 1943 and together had 10 children. From December 1941 to August 1944, the Japanese forces held our father as a prisoner of war while occupying Guam. The liberation of Guam marked the beginning of a brand new life for Mom and Pop, resulting in the births of Viola, Joseph, June, Dorothy, and Barbara. In 1950, our family relocated to San Diego, California, where they later gave birth to Sandy. They returned from Guam in 1958 and stayed until 1955 and stayed until 1958 when Pop's next assignment brought our family to Washington, D.C. In October 1959, the twins Kenny and the last but not least and best, Dennis, was born. Our father was a perfect complement to our mother. Mom was soft-spoken, Pop was outspoken. Mom was a person of few words, Pop was not. Mom was the quiet leader of our family. Pop was the disciplinarian who was stern but fair and who wanted his children to become responsible, accountable, and productive individuals. He had a dedicated and tireless work ethic, which he instilled in each of us. During the 1960s, Pop was one of the founding fathers for what is known today as the Guam Society of America of Washington, D.C. Our parents were active participants in the GSA events for several decades, celebrating our Chamorro heritage and being part of a larger Chamorro family, which included the Flores, Cruz, Benavente, Crisostomo, Lizama, Sablan, Paris, and Santos. Pop also faithfully served for over 3 decades as an usher each Sunday at the Bolling Air Force Base Chapel. Our father enjoyed weekend family fishing adventures at Patuxent Naval Air Station with Mom, the Flores, Cruz, Lizama, and other Chamorro families. He enjoyed gardening and competing with Mom to see who could grow the best fruits and vegetables. Bowling was another love of his. He bowled in work leagues and enjoyed bowling with his sons, their friends, and families. He would travel with Mom to visit and be with their children. He cherished every minute he spent at family gatherings and major milestones in his children's grand and great-grandchildren's lives. He was a regular at his sons' and grandsons' baseball, softball, and wrestling events. His amazing gift was his ability to always make time for his family, friends, and relatives. Of the many talents our father possessed, 3 in particular are worth noting. He was a recognized expert of Chamorro family genealogy. He educated his children and many others about their Chamorro roots and became a source to many seeking to understand their family lineage. He was a skilled and graceful ballroom dancer. Where was Dancing with the Stars then? He was our Chamorro Fred Astaire. A family joy was watching Mom and Pop dance the foxtrot and the waltz. A third talent was his ability to multitask. Pop could look at you while talking and driving, even if you were in the back seat, while also drinking his coffee, all at the same time. Thank God he didn't have a cell phone. Pop's life changed when the love of his life, wife Chong, passed away in 2000. In 2002, he suffered a stroke while visiting his siblings in Guam, stripping him of his short-term memory. This traumatic event occurred just 4 days before his oldest son, Joseph, passed suddenly of a heart attack. Over the next 10 years, Pop battled progressive dementia. It was difficult for us to watch our father lose his capability to enjoy life. However, over this time, our love for him grew stronger. Every once in a while, that infectious smile and charm we all grew to know and love would make an appearance. We cherished those opportunities. In closing, Papa, thank you for all the love, good times, and many gifts you have given us. Your legacy provides many life lessons which have shaped who we are. You taught us that faith in God is the basis behind the strength and love of a family, the value of helping others, and that there is always room for one more. 20 more. The value of being a good Christian, and that our life is measured and blessed by the contributions we make to our loved ones, friends, and those less fortunate. The importance of making time and being present. The importance of discipline and accountability. And lastly, that true wealth is not measured by how much you have, but in how much you give and how you treat and respect others. Papa, thank you for always loving us and for touching our lives and hearts. May you rest in peace with Mom, son Joe, your family, friends, and relatives. We love you and are proud to be your children. May your spirit shine and watch over us until we meet again.
How's the day? My name is Brian Taitano. One of 26 grandchildren, 33 great-grandchildren, and 2 great-great-grandchildren. I'm honored today to take a few moments to share with you the impact that this great man had on the lives of his grandchildren. Grandpa had a shining personality and a tremendous ability to welcome everyone in his home. His laugh was unmistakable and filled with joy. He would affectionately greet us with names like Connie Baby, Jenny Girl, Vanessa Renee, Ralphie Boy, and when it just didn't rhyme or work out, Sonny Boy. And of course, my favorite, because nothing went with Brian, I simply accepted the Brain. We remember Grandpa to be very meticulous and a man of great detail. Cousin Connie had me cracking up the other day when she said, you know, Grandpa would even label the food in his freezer. The pictures he had and the corresponding negatives. In fact, he even folded his plastic bags, believe it or not. His sayings and gestures were unforgettable. Clapping his hands to say, wahoo! Curling that finger to say, so good one. And put them together and there was trouble. Wahoo's a good one! Grandpa loved to travel with and visit his family. We discovered early on that when he packed for long trips, he never actually used a suitcase. But he was the master of cardboard boxes, string, and tape. He enjoyed fishing trips with Grandma. He loved to take his grandchildren when he could, and we loved to go with him. He cherished watching his kids and his grandkids at ball games, and you could proudly see him wearing his hat or his jacket, supporting the child or grandchild he was there for. A quick story. Once Grandpa ran into the heavyweight champ, Riddick Bowe, right after a heavyweight fight, and only like Grandpa could do, walked up to him and said, "Champ, it's a good one." He loves spending hours in his garden and on the hill in his backyard, often sending us up to feed his dogs and help him out. And we knew that when he was emptying all the buckets on the porch, he was just moments away from asking his grandchildren to pick all the rocks out of his garden. Grandpa was a man of honor and integrity, as illustrated through his years of service for our country and the pride for his family. He once visited his grandson Joey at his small business in Oxon Hill and was so amazed to learn that a small business could actually own a real photocopy machine. From that moment on, it was done. No more copies at the local library. He brought them all to Joey's office. in Grandpa fashion, he did not want to take advantage of his grandson and insisted that Joey take the 10 cents for his copy. We all know Grandpa to be a great historian. If he were here today, he could pick anyone in this room and tell you how we were related. It was important to him that the Taitano legacy never be forgotten. Grandpa would frequently teach us about our culture and our family tree, all the way down to the first chief on Guam. In fact, my cousin Wayne jokes, never introduce your Chamorro girlfriend to Grandpa, because he's bound to show you how she's your cousin. Amazingly, he was able to do these things the old-fashioned way. Letters, his penmanship, phone calls, personal visits to your house. Imagine the damage he could have done if he only knew about Facebook. The interactions with his grandchildren taught us many things. It taught us faith and finance and commitment. Even with all his grandchildren, great-grandchildren, great-great-grandchildren, he always reminded us that we needed to have more. We secretly think he was going for some world record. Davy and John, you remind us that when we would visit Grandpa, he would squeeze us and hold us tight, not let us go, not until we sat there and we talked to him for a while, then he would let us go play. We cherish that. Grandpa had a way of making you feel like you were the only thing that mattered when he was there. We all know Grandpa was always right. And to try and correct him was a big, big mistake. As my eldest cousin, Frank, reflects, Grandpa was always overjoyed to see his great-granddaughter, Melissa. Frank was wise enough not to correct, but remind Grandpa that it was actually pronounced Marissa. Faith was important to Grandpa. We remember Grandpa always saying prayers before every meal, reminding us that God and family are first. Grandpa used to send us in the basement to retrieve bananas and pears, making us eat them even if we weren't hungry. Because we had to have our fruit. When we did something that humored Grandpa, he would make us do it over and over and over again, just so he could laugh harder and harder. He once created a game for me and my brother Ricky. Go see who could find the most worms in the backyard. Coincidentally, always seemed to be the day before a long fishing trip. At a very young age, he wanted to teach us about finances. I remember very distinctly Grandpa saying, "Sonny, pay yourself first. Always save, because you never know." In fact, Grandpa opened up a special savings account for all of his grandchildren. And on the day of our birthday, he would deposit that exact amount in our accounts. Added up with all those grandchildren. When we had a great accomplishment, he always reminded us that it was clearly because you are a Taitano. Even in the later years of his life, Cousin Tyler reminds us that when we went to visit Grandpa, and he would say, "Who are you?" And we would say, "Grandpa, your grandchild." His eyes would light up with joy and pride. And at that moment, he would hug us again like he did when we were children and say, "You are a Taitano." Proving once again that no illness could overcome the love for his family. Amen. Finally, Grandpa was so dependable. He never missed an important event like a birthday, a graduation, a wedding, or a ball game. And in these moments, Grandpa needed no words. You could often peek over at him with his arms crossed, his lips tight, his chin up, and just nodding.
That is my grandchild.
To that end, and to my cousins, thank you for sharing all of these memories. We're reminded every day that there are good men, there are great men, then there's Jose Salas Taitano, our grandfather. May you rest in peace, and we long for the day to be with you, Grandma, and Uncle Jojo in heaven. Amen.
Is someone here for the Veterans Association? No? Okay. It's not. We'll go ahead then.
After that sharing, I just want to let you know that the song I'm about to sing, which is a traditional hymn called Abide With Me, was translated by Uncle Pepe's older brother, Uncle Momo, Artemio Taitano, on May 20th, 1956.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, handsome, for your words. I feel like we've already worshipped. You guys really didn't need me to come out here.
Yes, we did.
Wow. It's a privilege and an honor to come and be with Uncle Pepe. Senior Chief Yeoman Jose Salas Taitano. Often wondered what a yeoman did. I had no idea since I never served. So thank you to Dave Davis yesterday. He filled me in on what a yeoman does. Since Mr. Davis and Mr. Taitano were two of the long-term members of the chapel, worked together many years, joked together, and here he comes. And how they shared their love for God together The yeoman is a person who keeps all the records for the officers of the ship. And all the good records and the bad records. And everything has to be organized. So the Navy has taught him well. Because the records that he kept in the Navy were very similar to the records he kept at home. As you all shared with me, all the files that he had on each child, grandchild, and probably great-grandchild. Records of all their accomplishments in their lives, their medals, their schools, their marriages, their divorces, remarriages, whatever. It's all written in that Taitano book of life. Because first and foremost, Uncle Pepe was a man of God. No question. Strong faith. Growing up in a Chamorro family of 17 children. And as Uncle Johnny said to me yesterday, he's the anchor. He's in the middle. And Uncle Johnny's number 10. The last of the Mohicans. I'm glad you could make it, Uncle. 16. You're number 16? Well, I guess my math was off yesterday. But I can remember back growing up as a little boy in Guam, when Uncle Momo, who Polly referred to earlier, would gather Uncle Johnny and Uncle Henry and Uncle Charlie, and they would sing. They had the Taitano Quartet.